Thanks for taking some time out.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, everybody that will be watching this, Andy from Black Veil Brides, I did not realize how busy of a man you are.
What are you referring to specifically?
All right. Well, let's go back to I didn't know you wrote a book at the end of last year that was a #1 Amazon bestseller. Tell us a little bit about the book.
Yeah, so that, I mean, the truth of the book thing is it took a couple years because for me, the idea was to try to do a book kind of about the early part of my life. And I feel like I read a lot of rock bios and stories, and a lot of times they're written by people who have experienced a whole life, and maybe they're writing it when they're 60 years old or whatever. And those first couple chapters about the early part of their life tend to be such like footnotes, and they don't really tell the story. And you, even as like readers, we want to just get through it so we can get to the rock part of it. You know what I mean? So I kind of wanted to talk about, I grew up in Southern Ohio, and I'm certainly not from an area where there's a lot of like rock stardom on offer. And so I kind of wanted to just talk about what it is to grow up in a small town, to have, not necessarily the odds stacked against you, but there's not a clear path. And for me, like I get really kind of, one of my pet peeves is like people in bands who, when they get any kind of success, they suddenly pretend that they're like a magician or like a superhero, and they have this otherworldly talent that no one could ever get. And I wanted to talk about, how attainable it is just to do what you want to do. You just got to work really hard and have some luck and other circumstances. So it's just about my childhood and kind of growing up in Ohio and playing in bands and that kind of thing.
It's funny you say that about, some of these musicians, they write it later in life. And it's like, I always tell people, I remember reading Slash's book, Duff McKagan's book, and Steven Adler's book, and they're talking about the same thing and 3 different takes on the same situation.
Yeah.
And I paid attention to Guns N' Roses or somebody like Nikki Sixx and his Heroin Diaries book was fantastic. I'm like, how did they remember all that stuff?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I even doing the book, like, it's hard for me because this is stuff from my childhood, so it took a long time. And I have co-author Ryan Downey, who is a journalist and had interviewed me from like 2013 through, we started the book in 2017, and we just went through and found different stuff and things I had said and moments and memories and, tried to pull as much as I could from that. But it's also like, you read a lot of these rock books, and it seems like a lot of it is, and this is not to be disparaging to somebody else, but like a lot of it's about talking crap about other people and like putting blame on other people. And I just didn't really want to do that because, to be egotistical, it's my story. You know what I mean? Like, it's not about other people.
Gotcha. All right. So we'll move on to acting. American Satan, which I now have to go back and watch this movie, which is now the new series, was it Paradise City on Amazon? That's a continuation?
Yeah, so we did the movie in 2016, 2017, and, it was one of those things where I knew from the beginning that Ash Alvinson, who wrote and directed it, he wanted to develop this further, but movie has a finite amount of time to tell the story. So pretty quickly, like literally by the time we were releasing the movie, he was telling all of us in the cast that was coming back or that were coming back, I want to do this as a series and tell the full story. And so there's been years of development and everything. And then thankfully we were able to get it done and get it out, during this crazy time in the world right now. But it's an incredible experience getting to play kind of this alternate version of my life where it's a person who took a very different path. And it's one of the really lucky and fortunate things that I get to do.
Nice. And then there's Black Veil Brides. New record, Phantom Tomorrow, November it comes out?
October 29th.
October 29th, almost November.
So almost November.
And then something you haven't been able to do for the last year, going on tour.
Oh, praise be. I'm very excited about that. Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you say I'm busy, but we kind of joke like, touring is our gig, right? Like that's what you do as a musician. So it sort of felt like when we finally got the word that we could do this, I was kind of joking with some of the members of our crew and stuff. It's like, oh, we're going to have a job again. We get to go to work. Yeah, we're just so excited, man. Like it's been a long time. This is the longest I've gone since performing since I was a kid. I mean, we've been, for the early part of our career, especially, we were touring 9-10 months of the year. And so to now do 16 months or whatever it is without touring. And then the band, Black Veil, hasn't toured in a full US tour since 2018. So it's been, this is like a very exciting, very, very, like we can't wait to do it and get back out there and play a big show.
Nice. Our local date, Franklin Music Hall in Philadelphia, is November 9th. course, touring with In This Moment. Is it going to be an adjustment? I've interviewed a lot of artists that, yeah, they might be recording music or they're doing other projects or they're just, like I've gotten a chance to watch my kid grow. Is there going to be adjustment going back out on the road for, being home for so long?
I think in some cases, but I mean, the other thing is like I was kind of talking about this the other day. I started putting together my mental checklist of like what I'm gonna need. I mean, we're so far out, but I'm already kind of in that space of like I need to make sure I got this and make sure I have command hooks for the bus so I can hang my stuff up and all these like people don't necessarily realize like there's I have a box of just like crap that I have to bring on the road so that because you're living in a vehicle for 3 months at a time, so you got to have your little things that make sure you can hang up your clothes, or if you go to the gym or whatever, you got those types of things that try to be efficient in your packing. When you've been touring for a decade plus, whatever it is, you get to the point where you know your way around things. And so I started slipping into that mentality last night, like looking on Amazon for things to hang things up in the bus. And I kind of thought how natural it felt to be doing that. So, I mean, as far as the performance part of it, it's going to be weird to be in a room with a lot of people in general. But I think we're all so excited about it. And I think that everybody's just so ready for it to happen that I don't know that there'll be a learning curve so much as there'll just be excitement. I think the learning curve will be a physical one, playing an hour plus set every night, headline set, and being a person who's mostly sat inside for a year and a half. It's the physical toll that it'll take, I think, first.
Yeah. So the new record, Phantom Tomorrow, was it recorded before the pandemic, during the pandemic, or bits and pieces, both?
We started it in January, and then we were supposed to go on this. Originally, this tour was supposed to happen in March of 2020. So we were going to do like half of it, and then when we got done with that run, finish the other half. So we ended up just plowing straight through. So we did like 4 or 5 songs prior to everything starting, and then there was like a month when everybody was in that weird like floating phase where we didn't know what you could do or where you could go or how to handle stuff. And so once that was kind of through and we figured out, when everybody felt safe and comfortable, we got into the studio and we've been working nonstop. And then now we're actually working on like a part 2 to the record that'll come out next year.
Nice. I was last year I talked to Alice Cooper and he said 2021, the amount of music that's going to come out and the amount of touring, we're hoping that the audience will be able to handle everything and that's what's happening. The last few weeks we've announced so many shows. It feels so good to say we're going to be going to concerts again.
I know, and that's the crazy thing is because this tour has been on the books for over a year at this point, but you're trying to slot in more tours or how to fill out your schedule, and it's like they might as well give us those things they give you at Cheesecake Factory to wait for your table reservation. Like trying to get tours booked right now. There's so many tours going out and there's so many things. You got to like really be strategic in where to go and how you can make things happen and all that other stuff. So there's going to be such a deluge of live music and concerts and records and everything. And I think everybody's primed and ready for it, especially the rock fans. The part of rock and roll music that is unique to our genre, I think in a lot of ways, is that live experience. It has that, they call it the Church of Rock and Roll. It's a big thing. These festivals and these shows, I think we all miss it, and it's a big part of our lives.
Yeah, I've told listeners, you can win tickets, but I hope you saved your money. Well, we weren't able to do anything, so because there's gonna be a lot of touring. There's gonna be a lot of touring and a lot of $15 beers and $30 parking. So I can't help but notice, because I noticed this about a lot of people I've been Zooming with. Clearly a big Batman fan.
Big Batman fan, big Bengals fan. If you look around me, it's Batman logos and Bengals helmets.
I was going to get to the Bengals, but Batman, who's your favorite Batman?
All right, we got Keaton right there. I've got, you can't see because they're all black, but I've got every movie mask above it. So, yeah. I'm definitely, I would say that the one thing that has happened during this pandemic is that I've become obsessed with decorating this room with random crap. Yeah. So I would say Keaton's my favorite live action Batman, just because, it was when I was a little kid and it was kind of my introduction to the character.
Nice. And how you feeling about the Bengals in 2021?
I'm optimistic, and I am every year until I'm proven to be a fool. I mean, the truth of the matter is, this is a team that has not won a playoff game since I was literally months old. So it is they're coming up on 30 years of not winning a playoff game. So it is It's rough. We've really sucked for the last couple of years, but you know we've got the Hope and Burrow. We've got all this. It's just you know it's a franchise that nobody knows about. We're not a nationally relevant franchise. When we come on your TV, we usually lose, so that's the assumption that you make about us. So I'm hoping we can fly under the radar and win some 1 o'clock in the afternoon games that nobody's watching, and and make for a good season.
And here I thought being an Eagles fan was tough, but I have no expectations for this season. I hope my fantasy football teams are good.
I'm excited for you guys. It seems like it's a whole different team. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously Jalen Hurts is an important piece, but I'm interested to see what happens with you guys.
Yeah, no, it should be interesting, but I have no expectations for this season because it's like let's see what everyone's going to do, and we'll see. Well, all I could say, Andy, is that you are busy, whether you've been sitting home for a year or not. You've got books, you've got acting, you've got music. I'm assuming music out of all of it is your favorite, right?
Yeah, I mean that's my gig, as they say. That's the thing that means the most to me. The rest of it I get to do because of music. You know, if it wasn't for me having this career and people listening to what I've put out over the years, whether it's my band or it's solo stuff or whatever it is. So that's the main passion in my life. The other stuff is just like cool stuff that I get to do because of it.
Nice. So the new record, Phantom, tomorrow, you said October 29th. We got the tour with In This Moment. It's going to be hitting Philly on November 9th, Franklin Music Hall. We actually gave away a bunch of tickets away last week, so we'll be sending some winners up there. Check out Paradise City on Amazon. Check out the book as well. I appreciate that you wrote the childhood part now, so when we read, the rock star life, you'll maybe a little bit better memory.
Yeah, once that's the thing is it's the most pretentious thing in the world for a 29-year-old to release a memoir. So like I realized like I had to write about what I knew, which was my childhood, and then hopefully when I'm 65 and still wearing leather pants, I can write about the rest of it.
Listen, all the rock stars I grew up watching in the 80s on MTV, I would have never guessed in 2021 they'd still be wearing leather pants and playing. They probably didn't think so either, especially the rock stars of the 80s.
You mentioned Alice, though. I always say Alice looks better because the older he gets, the more the creepy aesthetic works. Like he looks the best ever. Alice is ageless. He's the best.
And the amount of energy he still has on stage is tremendous. It's got to be all the golf, I guess, that he plays.
Apparently, yeah. Desert living and golf. That's what we all got to do in our old age if we want to keep rocking.
There you go. All right, Andy, I thank you for taking some time. Again, the new record, October, the tour. We'll see you up in Philadelphia on November 9th. All the best. And, we got the new record, but you said you're already starting part 2, so we're looking forward to all that, too.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. And we'll see you in Philly.
All right. Take care, sir.